Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, my name is Andgar and this is my YouTube channel. What I have for you today is my first ever video vlog. My first ever PC build that I've managed to capture certain parts of on camera, and it's also my first ever attempt at water cooling a system. As you can see here, I'm going to show you certain parts that I've got lying about on my table whilst I quickly run through the specs and what I'm actually videoing and recording audio on. So the video that you're watching is recorded from my Samsung Galaxy S3 phone. If you're using a Samsung Galaxy S3, I would have to ask you why. Mine's is really old and, well, I've been planning on changing it for a while but just haven't got round to it. The headset you're currently hearing me on is a Corsair HX1200i headset. It's not the greatest of headsets, this one was free. My old headset is broken and no longer works, and I am meaning to upgrade to a newer headset or microphone, which when I buy one I will be doing a review of. So what did I build and why? Well, I built a Skylake system that is water cooled. The reason is because my 2600K Sandy Bridge system is getting long in the tooth. To be honest, it needed replacing. Just changing the graphics cards wasn't going to be enough, to be honest. I wanted something that was more up to date and more modern, and I wanted to make something that was also water cooled. So without further ado, the parts are built in the system. A Corsair 900D case. It's a good case, solidly built. It's huge, it's got a massive side window, it's going to show off the insides of the computer really nice with all the water cooling. It's got enough room to do all the water cooling things in that I wanted to do. Yes, I realise that it looks really tight here at the top of the case. I have really fat fingers, quite long fat fingers. I changed the top of the reservoir anyway, so it's now nice and smooth across the top with just a normal sort of fitting on the top, not one that sticks out like that, however. The processor for this fitting is a Intel i7 6700K processor. I've got this overclocked to 4.8 GHz. It turbos up to 4.8, it doesn't constantly run at 4.8. I need longevity out of my components. I'm not sponsored, so anything that you see I've bought with my own money. The RAM for the system is some 32GB of Corsair DDR4 Vengeance LPX RAM. I don't really remember what frequency it's running at. I think it's 2333 or something similar, or it might even be 2166. I can't remember off the top of my head what the frequency of the RAM is on this. The LPX RAM I had in my old system was fine, it works great. The whole system is built on an Asus 170 Deluxe motherboard, black and white motherboard. It's from Asus, it's a damn good motherboard. Graphics card is an EVGA 980 Ti, superclocked. Damn good graphics card as well as far as I'm concerned. Yes, it's an Nvidia graphics card. Sue me, don't care. It's all powered by a Corsair HX1200i 1200 watt power supply. The reason for this is when it's not using enough power, it's running slow. Well, the fact the fan isn't running at all cuts down on noise, which is slightly silly considering I have 11 Corsair Air static pressure 120 fans in the system and one Corsair Air Force 140mm fan. Obviously I've got these all linked up through an Nzxt grid 10 channel hub fan. Right, what to say about fans really? They're static pressure, they're 120mm. These ones come with coloured stripes on the outside. They're a 3-pin connector, they have rubber grommets on the sides. The three colours that the bands can be is white, which obviously I've chosen, red and blue. I chose white, obviously, white and black and white build. They're fairly easy to change, they just pull off on the corners there. You take them off and you put the other one on. They're fans, they're quiet, they run particularly slow with the restrictors, the little resistant wires that you saw on top of my computer before. You add them on, it slows the fans down. They are so quiet. I switch the system on, I can be sat next to it, I can be doing audio recording like this and you never hear the computer in the background. If you are hearing the computer in the background, it's another old computer of mine, which is down by the side of the desk. This system's actually sat on the desk right next to me. and I can't hear it. The fans, the 140mm obviously is a air force. It's basically for exhausting air out of the case, because you still need air moving through the case across the VRMs and the components of the motherboard. The majority, at least 8 of the fans, are actually on the radiators of this build, which I think we'll just go into telling you about the water cooling for this build now, which is good timing because there a little bit about that shot about the fans has ended there. Right, we're going to go around the back of the system in a minute. When I get there, you'll see the Alphacool VPP 6655D5 pump. It's a bit of a mouthful. It has a speed rotator on the back of it, which you can just adjust with a little small screwdriver. It's a damn good pump. I bought it because it has that little speed adjust, so it isn't running at full speed all the time. I can turn it down a little bit, which I have, because it saves on noise again. The other parts of this build, obviously there's the pump there in the bottom. You'll see a bit more of that pump just there. I'm going to show you the fan hub at the bottom here, whilst I'm making a real big mess of trying to show you this. The other parts that I chose for the water cooling are 2 EK water block Coolsteam PE 480 Rads radiators, whatever you want to call them. They're about 45mm thick. They're radiators. They're the ones I chose, not for any particular reason other than they were 480s, and I think they were on offer at the time I bought them. The reservoir is an EK X3400 reservoir. It's one of the largest reservoirs I could find. It's a large case, and I need something to take the room up, something to fill the space. I have a Supremacy Evo CPU block, obviously from EK, and from EK again I have a Titan X full cover GPU block. Now the GPU, Titan X GPU block, and the Titan X GPU block fits on the TI because it shares a very similar PCB layout, is the reason I have a Titan X full cover water block. I was rubbing some dust there it's got on the side of the computer. The case was sitting around in the living room here for approximately 4 months before I even attempted to build the system. The front panel I/O for this case was a nightmare to plug in. Even with a little standoff that comes for the motherboard, I found it really difficult to get the reset button on the right place for the motherboard, so that was a bit of trial and error. On top of the case at the moment, you'll see a little panel, a metal panel. That's actually from the front of that panel there with the dust cover on it. With it off you can see the fans, however I've put it back on now because I think it looks better with it on than it did with it off. The other fittings within the case, or the other components within the case, the MasterKleer hose here, it's 3.3 meters long, 10 feet. It's supposed to be clear, but it's not very clear. You can see my hand through it, but as you can see, it's kind of cloudy. It has discoloured now, but I've been using it for 5 months. It's gone slightly yellowish. I'm not quite sure why it's discoloured this much, but it's discoloured, whatever. The sizes of the hose are 1/2 inch inner diameter, 3/4 inch outer diameter. Now that's 13 millimeters inner diameter and 19 millimeters outer diameter, for anybody wondering. The fittings you saw at the very start were Monsoon compression fittings, matte black. I have 2 6-packs of them. I have 3 Alphacool 90-degree black revolvable compression fittings, 1 Alphacool Y45 connector. Now I needed that for a drainage loop at the bottom. I also needed the Phobia 2-way ball valve for this, and I have 1 additional Alphacool 90-degree rotatory male threaded to female threaded fitting. I needed that again for the fact that I was actually going to run out of compression fittings, to be honest, with the Y connector and stuff. The motherboard, I've fitted the CPU block now and put 2 of the compression fittings on top. This is it now inside the case. I've taken the majority of all the other stuff out of the case so I could fit the motherboard fairly easy. It's, I think at this point, it's not screwed into the standoffs on the motherboard. Luckily this motherboard had all the standoffs already pre-mounted, which was nice. It saved me definitely the job in doing it. Now I'm starting to wire in the system. The majority of the wires that I needed I've already taken out of the Corsair pack or the packages and plugged into the back of the power supply here and fed them through into the rear cable management of the system. Additional parts that I bought for the system were 5 Fenix Alchemy 2.0 magnetic LED 12cm white stripes, which you'll see towards the end of the video when I actually show you the computer lighting up at the very end. I'll definitely say the wire management in this system was fairly easy due to basically those little clips on the back. I basically could feed everything through, no problem. I kept some cable ties to cable tie the rest of the stuff together. The fan hubs were brilliant. Basically the fan hubs took all of my fans and they work absolutely fine. This was the bit I was most worried about, was taking the actual fan off the GPU. The graphics card. I was worried about this. The back plate however came off and I couldn't get it to go back on. I needed to buy another back plate, which I've still to do actually. To place the thermal pads back on the memory modules on the graphics card, I had to pop out to B&Q, my local hardware place, to buy the tweezers you see there on the right and a little hacksaw you see here on the left for cutting the piping. The piping which I'm now trying to straighten over the top of my bookcase. I ended up not using the hacksaw because it didn't make very clean cuts. I ended up just using a standard very sharp knife. Also when I was out I couldn't resist, I had to go and buy some food. That's my old headset there, the one I was going to be using for recording. It's a Rocat Cave, I think it was a 5.1 surround. It kind of died a death, to be honest. The microphone just gave up. As you can see there, I had 2 large Big Mac meals and 2 double cheeseburgers in the bag. It's my little thing, it's called a bag of burgers, and it's basically just filling a bag with as much shite as I can get from McDonald's. As you can see here, the system's all now piped in, and I'm currently testing the system. I've got some tissues out to make sure there was no leaks. The splitter, or the jumper, sorry, should I say, for the 24-pin motherboard, the motherboard cable. It just means the whole system doesn't turn on and I get to run the pump. So I did this for approximately 12 hours. I ran the pump for 12 hours to make sure there was no leaks, and there was none, which was thankful. The route of the coolant system, for anybody that cares, is reservoir to pump, pump to bottom radiator, radiator to GPU, GPU to CPU, CPU to top radiator, long return back to the reservoir. I am going to change this next time I redo the water cooling in the system. I'm fairly happy at the time the way it looked. 5 months on where I am now, I'm going to change things. How I'm going to change them, I'm not quite decided. I have been looking in hard tubing. I do quite like it, but I'm not entirely certain. And here is the computer with the lights on. These are my my Alchemy 2.0 magnetic LEDs. They light the system up quite nicely, I think. It gives it a nice bright white colour into it. I can't tell you just how quiet the system is, and I'm very pleased with the system. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I'll hopefully have it up on YouTube very soon. More videos are in the works. Stay tuned to my channel, subscribe if you haven't, leave comments, any questions, and I'll try and get back to you. And as always, have fun, stay safe, play computer games, people. Thank you.